All right, guys, I've been seeing this question a lot pop out lately. Obviously, you guys know I made that video last week about if the Bears should fire Matt Eberflus. Spoiler alert, yes, we should fire him. Should have been fired yesterday. But on to the next subject here of Ryan Poles. There are people calling for his head. Some people in the Bears fan base that are upset at Ryan Poles because of, well, most notably Chase Claypool's situation. How we traded the 32nd overall pick for Chase Claypool, and now it seems he's going to be out. He's going to be on his way out. I don't know if he'll be released, if we're even lucky enough to find someone that will trade a 5th or 6th round pick for him. Hopefully that's the case, but a lot of people don't like the fact that, we traded away our the first overall pick. We could have Bryce Young because Fields has been struggling, aside from his last game. But a lot of people have not been too happy with Ryan Poles, especially with the hiring of Matt Eberflus. That's the one thing I'll get on him for, is the fact that he hired a terrible head coach, probably the worst head coach, in my opinion, the worst head coach in Bears history. So, guys, I'm here to say that, in my opinion, I don't think the Bears should fire him just yet, and here's why. So keep in mind that we have 2 first-round picks next year because of us trading away, the first overall pick to the Panthers, and currently we actually hold the first 2 picks in the next year's NFL draft if the season were to end today. Not sure if that's going to stay the same, if the Panthers are going to end up being the worst team or we're going to end up being the worst team. But either way, I did like the move. Even if Justin Fields, did better last year, even if he wasn't, regardless of the case of how he did this year, that move was made because Ryan Poles at the time did not believe that CJ Stroud or Bryce Young or any of the QBs in that draft class were going to be as good or as beneficial as Justin Fields, or as beneficial as trading away for future assets. Because we know that, first off, next year's draft class is way better than this year, or at least projected to be. We got Caleb Williams and Drake May, who some even say Drake May, if he was in last year's draft class, he would have gone first overall before Bryce Young. So that just puts a big statement on, and now obviously we have Caleb Williams, who's probably one of the best prospects since maybe Andrew Luck or Trevor Lawrence, but a generational talent at QB. And Ryan Poles is looking at that. He's saying, you know what? I like what I saw from Justin Fields. We can build off that. And if for whatever reason he doesn't do good, we've got, we're likely, if he does bad, we're likely going to have a high draft pick to be able to draft a Caleb Williams or a Drake May, or maybe one of the other quarterbacks in next year's draft class. So I like the move. I like that it was a safe move because you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. Because if we took, Bryce Young or CJ Stroud or whatever we took, with that first overall pick and traded away Fields, you're going to have to deal with the fact that rookie Bryce Young and rookie CJ Stroud, now CJ Stroud is doing good, but he's doing good with the Texans. Just because he's doing good on one team doesn't mean he'd be like that on every other team, especially the Bears. And we most likely would be in a situation where if we would have taken, most likely Bryce Young, look how he's doing with the Panthers right now. He's got less weapons there and even a better head coach, but we're here and we don't have, a head coach that can put together a decent offense for a quarterback that is the most talented quarterback in Bears history. Imagine what Bryce Young would have been here. So we would have not had next year's first round pick, the second first round pick, and we would have had traded away Fields, and we just wouldn't have been good. So I liked that Ryan Poles did that. I liked that he kind of prepared for the future and said, you know what? Let's deal with this season for now. If Justin Fields pops off with the new weapons he has, and hopefully, week 4 was an indication of him, of good things to come, basically. But Ryan Poles basically said, hey, if he does good this season, we'll give him the the big money later on. We'll get to draft maybe a Marvin Harrison Jr., an extra offensive lineman to protect him, or whatever the case may be, maybe an edge rusher of some sorts. And we'll be able to use those 2 draft picks to do whatever we want with them. Even trade away if we get the number 1 overall pick again. The best case scenario would be if Justin Fields plays like how he did last week in week 4, plays like that for the rest of the season, and we end up with a somewhat decent record. We keep him, and we fire the coaching staff and everything. We get a new head coach that can actually use Justin Fields correctly, can actually call a good defense, and we can use. And if we get the first overall pick, we trade it away for a king's ransom again, for a Caleb Williams king ransom, which would be even bigger than last year's trade. And God knows what we'll do with that. But obviously, as of right now, we hold the first 2 picks in the NFL draft. And if the season were to end today, the Bears would most definitely take Caleb Williams. That's just how it is. And we'd probably, take Marvin Harrison or an offensive lineman at number 2 or trade back. But most likely the number 1 overall pick would be Caleb Williams. So that is why Ryan Poles did what he did. And just for that alone, because it was a very big move. It was a very big move that set us up for the future and for multiple years to come. Remember, not like the Rams who put all their eggs in one basket. And it was a very risky move too. The Rams, they put all their eggs in one basket saying, after draft picks, they went out and, traded for everybody, signed a bunch of free agents and, traded for Matthew Stafford, and they won a ring with it. But after that, they haven't been anything good or anything close to good since their win. Now, of course, they might not regret it at all just because they won a ring, but you'd want long-term success. And I believe that's what Ryan Poles' MO here is. He wants long-term success. Even if you have to deal with a little bit of bad right now, at least or at least you can kind of predict that later on for next year and for the seasons after, you're kind of set. So even if the season goes bad, you can say, hey, you know what? At least we didn't put all our eggs in one basket and now we have absolutely nothing. Because that'd be the worst case scenario. And I believe Ryan Poles knows that. And yes, that 32nd pick, traded away for Chase Claypool is terrible. Matt Eberflus hiring was terrible. Now we don't know if that was him hiring him because he was hired 2 days after Ryan Poles was hired. So I'm not sure if he even had enough time to evaluate if the McCaskeys just kind of dumped this in on him and say, here, hire him. And I hope that's not the case. But either way, Ryan Poles and the rest of the Bears staff need to do a better job at evaluating next year's coaching job and making sure that we get the right guy this time. Because like I said, as of right now, Caleb Williams is most likely our QB next year. Just that if the season were to end today, Caleb Williams would be next year's 2024 Bears QB. And if that's the case, we need a real coach, a real offensive play caller, real guys who have done this before in order to give our future QB, whether that be Justin Fields, Caleb Williams, or someone else, success in the future. And I believe that Ryan Poles right now has done enough to keep his job. I believe that right now he hasn't done enough to lose his job. And yes, bad hiring, bad moves. Every GM has a bad move, guys. You can't expect any GM to be perfect. They always make at least a few bad moves throughout their career. And remember, this is a first-time GM too. Ryan Poles has never been a general manager anywhere. And for his first time, I'd say he's doing really good. I like what I've seen from him. Now, if he makes another bad coaching hire, maybe then yeah. If he makes another move like Chase Claypool trade, then maybe yeah. But as of right now, guys, I think we keep him. I think we keep him right now and give him another chance to hire the right guys and to draft the right pieces and actually spend, the $95 million that we were projected to have next year in cap space to re-sign the right players, extend the right players, and to spend that money on the D-line and offensive line or whoever's out there to help our team. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that we should fire Ryan Poles right now? Are you willing to give him another chance for next year, for this season? Let me know in the comments, and I'm out.